We are with Laurie Scherrer. She is joining us. She had a diagnosis around 10 years ago, mixed dementia, early onset Alzheimer's, and FTD. She's sharing her experience with us, and we are talking, let's pick it up where we're talking about Dementia Daze, because I love the fact that you really are teaching people how to live with dementia. It's not a death sentence. I mean, you're 10 years past your diagnosis. Tell us a little bit about what is the secret to really living with this disease, and like you mentioned, as opposed to dying, when you get that death sentence from the doctor saying, get your affairs in order, you obviously are nowhere near that. So tell us a little bit about that.
I actually have some friends that have lived with dementia for over 20 years. One person is close to 30 and still has a purpose-filled life. To me, living with dementia doesn't define me. I'm a writer, I'm a scuba diver, I'm a wife. That's part of who I am. Yes, I also have dementia, but I'm many other things as well. And living with dementia to me is making the best of every day, enjoying the moment, and learning strategies so that when your dementia symptoms are bad, yeah, it hurts. It's aggravating, but learning strategies to help lessen them, and learning ways to make your days good in spite of it.
So one of the things, Laurie, that I have been told, and doing so many of these interviews now, I've come to realize I don't agree. I was told, when we first started being patient, that people with dementia don't learn new things. But then I'm like, no, that's not true. There's so many people out there with a dementia diagnosis who are learning new things. I want you to talk a little bit about that. Do you feel like you have the ability to learn a lot of new things?
I don't learn new things as much as I used to, but I can learn new things. Sometimes my problem is not learning new things, it's remembering the things I did know, like counting money. I can't count money. It makes no sense to me. But yet I can learn some new things that use a different part of my brain, maybe. And I can find strategies to get around things that I used to be able to do that I can't anymore. But we do learn new things. I have a friend who went on to get his master's degree after his dementia. Was it hard? Yeah, really hard. When I can't read a book anymore because I forget what I did in the page before. So when I'm reading something, it kind of looks like this. It's all full of highlights and notes because that's the only way I remember things. But you can learn new things. You just have to learn them differently, which is the way much of my life is. I still can do many things. I just have to do them different than I did before.
And I love that you just are developing strategies, and and in a way, if you think about it, that's life, right? We all develop strategies to overcome difficulties we have or challenges that we have. So tell me a little bit though about how, because one of the things I am quite passionate about is really changing the conversation, not only for people living with dementia, but for those giving a diagnosis. Tell us a little bit about how it was communicated to you, and then tell us how you wish it would have been communicated to you once you had seen so many doctors.
Well, the doctor basically turned to my husband and said, get her affairs in order, spend as much time with friends and family now while she still remembers them, and come back in 6 months. Let's see how much she's progressed. Bye. I mean, go home and die. And yet I've really learned that the secret to dealing with this and many other illnesses is to go home and live as much as you can every day. There's no reason to get out of bed if you don't have a purpose. There's no reason at all to get out. Every day has to have a purpose. If the best you can do is button your own shirt, then you need to help the person button their own shirt. Don't do it for them. Help them to do it so they have a purpose in which to keep going. To me, I wish what the doctor had done, and I'll use this analogy. My mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And when we went to the oncologist, of course, we said, how long? And he said, I'm not God, but based on how fast it's progressing, I would say 3, maybe 6 months. Well, I'm thankful she lived 2.5 years. But when we left that office, we had a contact for a social worker, a clergyman. We had a nurse that we could call 24/7. And we had the social worker called not only my mother, but myself once a week to see how we were both doing. When you're diagnosed with dementia, you get nothing, not even one piece of literature. Just, that's it. I wish what the doctors would do is tell people that there are things they can do to help them live with dementia. Number one, get involved. Get involved with people living with dementia. You will learn more from other people living the life than you will learn from any doctor. Find a purpose. Key, find a reason to get out of bed. Number 3, our Pathways to Wellbeing book. I'm so proud of this. We put this together. This is through daanow.org. And it's written by people living with dementia, care partners, care professionals, doctors. It's the best resource guide that I have ever seen. Get a copy of it. You can download it free. So this isn't a sales pitch because there's no cost. In that, you'll find ways to help you live. Learn to recognize your triggers. I know that noise bothers me very much. So when I go into a restaurant, earplugs, don't leave home without them. I can't handle the multiple conversations. That's part of learning the strategies. Learn what triggers your dementia symptoms and learn ways to deal with them. Another thing they should tell you is stay active. No matter what you read, exercising, eating well, it's all healthy. Well, it's healthy for your brain as well. And there's nothing like when you're having a really bad day, when you're really confused and you want to cry, scream, punch somebody, go outside and smell the fresh air, look around, see all the beauty around you. And I think another thing is accept your diagnosis. Understand you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Dementia is like a roller coaster. It's not, straight line down or straight line across. You have days that, like today, I want to get out in my garden and pull some weeds and do stuff because it's just a great day for me today. But last week wasn't such a good day. So you have to accept the bad days and work through them.
What do you do on your bad days? Do you just need to be left alone? Do you force yourself to do things?
I usually can't force myself to do things on a bad day. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I scream. I have a teddy bear that is still in good shape, but I'm not sure why, because sometimes I just have to punch him. And work out some of that anxiety. Music. My music helps me. I put my headphones on and I just need that music. But interesting, over the past 10 years, the music I can tolerate has changed. I used to love classical. I can't stand the noise of a violin anymore. It goes straight to my head. So your music changes also. Certain noises will impact your head and you need to realize that. Don't just stop listening to music, change the music you're listening to. Sometimes I run And there was one night that my husband was out with me as I was running in an empty parking lot, just running, running, running until I literally dropped. It's working off some of that agitation.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's just what you have to do. You've got to work it off.
And the endorphins are probably very good for your brain as well.
Mhm.
Tell us, Laurie, just tell us a little bit about what advice could you offer to people just entering this journey? They may have had similar circumstances to you where they knew something was wrong, went to the doctors, and bam, they've gotten a diagnosis. What's your advice to them?
I think I just mentioned 7 other things that
We
I
spoke
wish
about.
the doctor had told me, but I'd say that's what they should do. And I would start with get involved with people living with dementia. I mean, get involved. You will just learn so much from them. And there are many chat groups out there that are just socializing. There are groups like Dementia Action Alliance, which are educational. Our discussion groups are educational. And you can actually find things to do at least 5 days a week on discussion groups. I would really say that is number one thing, is you will learn more from people living with dementia than you will on the internet, and much more than you'll ever learn from a doctor. So I that would be number one. And I would say also, no matter what you're doing, try to maintain a positive attitude. It's hard. It's hard when you're having a day where you're walking in the room and you don't even know where you are. It's really difficult to look at yourself the next day and be positive with some of the things you may have done that day. But that positive attitude is going to help you a lot.
And it's obviously helped you a lot too. Thank you so much, Laurie Scherrer, for sharing your story. And I 100% agree with you. I've learned so much from people diagnosed about this disease. And, so much of what you're saying resonates. And it always seems like the people who take initiative to stay engaged, to still have the attitude that their life is still worth living, are the ones who are faring the best. And you're obviously proof of that.
Deborah, I think on that, one of the key factors of that is you need to constantly focus on your abilities, not your inabilities. It's real easy to say, oh, I can't count money anymore. Oh, I can't go to the grocery store by myself. It's real easy to concentrate on the things you can't do, but that's just going to pull you down. Instead, concentrate on and be grateful for the things you still can do, because that's going to give you the joy of living with dementia rather than dying.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laurie, for coming and sharing your story. Dementia Daze is your blog. We'll post a link to it if people want to. It's open, I'm assuming, for everyone, right? Dementia Daze. We will post the link. If people want to read about Laurie, she has some great entries, a lot that resonates, I think, with a lot of us. So thank you for sharing that. We'll also post, where can people download the book that you showed us?
Go to daanow.org, and that's where also you'll find out about all our discussion groups and virtual engagements, and we have a lot. And then under Discovery Center, you'll see Pathways to Wellbeing.
That's awesome. And I'm sure it's going to be helpful to a lot of people. We'll post all of those links so that people know how to get there. Thanks so much for joining us, sharing your story. Come back and share more. As you learn more, we'd love to hear from you. And it's wonderful to see and speak to you with such a positive attitude.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate the audience for listening.
And if you want to know more about talks like the one we just had today, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter on beingpatient.com. That's where we post all of our talks, keep you abreast of the latest dementia news. Thanks everyone for joining, and we will see you next time.